سلام دوستان، چطورید؟ امیدوارم که حالتون خوب باشه. توی این ویدیو رفتم سراغ یک تریدر خیلی کم سن و سال، تریدری که توی سن 20 سالگی تونسته موفقیت‌های خیلی بزرگی رو به دست بیاره توی شغل معامله گری و یه تریدر 20 ساله است. توی این ویدیو یه مصاحبه باهاش انجام شده، یک سری صحبت‌ها انجام داده، حالا داستان زندگی خودش، تریدر شدنش رو گفته و اینکه چه اتفاقایی براش افتاده تا به امروز. امیدوارم با من همراه باشید، بریم با هم دیگه این ویدیو رو ببینیم. حالا اگه جای نیاز بود صحبت میکنیم یا ریاکشنمون رو نسبت به ویدیو خواهیم داشت. پس بدون معطلی شروع کنیم، بریم ببینیم که این جناب آقای جاستین ورلین چی میخواد به همون نشون بده و در واقع چی میخواد توی این ویدیو به ما بگه که بتونیم حالا ازش استفاده کنیم.
First.
Hi, my name is Justin Werlein. I'm 20 years old and I've been trading for 5 years now.
5 سال داره کار معامله گری میکنه، الان 20 سالشه تقریبا، یعنی از 15 سالگی شروع کرده و کار
How much
کرده.
money did you make in 2023?
In 2023, I made around 350,000. And in 2022, I made around 320,000.
Walk me through how you got into
$350,000
markets.
توی
I first
سال.
started trading when I was a freshman in high school. I'm sure, like a lot of other people, I was scrolling on social media and I found somebody, I don't remember specifically what the post was, but they were making a large amount of money. Now, at the time, I had really no idea what I wanted to do in life. I knew I didn't want to work a 9-to-5. I didn't want to work for somebody else. I wanted the freedom to travel and buy whatever I wanted, whenever I wanted. And so I ended up finding trading, and it sort of started to seem like a possible way that could get me to where I wanted to be. So I started trading penny stocks when I first actually got into it. For around 3 months, I would say I was trading penny stocks. Didn't really, have a lot of confidence with it. I was just still trying to figure out what was going on. I think the biggest part of why I stopped trading pennies was you have to have a lot of capital to actually trade penny stocks. So I realized quickly, pretty early on that it wasn't really my style of trading. Then I found options. At the time, I was like, oh my God, options, 1,000% return. This is great. And so I started trading options. I joined some communities that ended up teaching me terrible fucking habits that just stuck with me for a while that, I had to shake out. But at the time, I was in high school this whole time while I was learning. So every single day I was the kid in the back of the class on my laptop, just looking at the charts, building experience.
توی کلاسایی که میرفته، چون مدرسه بوده، همچنان داشته یاد میگرفته. بازار رو میبینید توی حالا مدرسه بوده ولی لپتاپ جلوشه، داره کار معامله گری رو انجام میده و توی بازار داره میچرخه.
And at the time I was losing. I would, fund an account. At the time I was working 2 jobs. I was a busser at a restaurant and I was also delivering pizzas for another place. And at the time in the mornings when I would go to school, that was really the only time I could work or look at the markets and stuff like that. So I would be trading and I would take all the money that I would make from the week or the previous month and I would funnel it into a new account. The earlier accounts that I had, I started with like $2,000 and then I tripled it to like 6,000. And then I blew it all. And then that's kind of the pattern that normally would happen is I would fund an account with, another $3,000. I would double it to 6,000, maybe 7,000, and then I would always end up losing it all because there was many different reasons. I didn't have a specific strategy. I would be looking for new things every single day. I had no rules set in place. I had no discipline. I had no patience. I thought that I was putting the time in and progressing, but time doing something without any sort of purpose or intention with actually doing it is just completely wasteful. So over that period of time, for around a year and a half, I was just burning money. I didn't really know what I was doing. Now it was good experience because, it's always good experience to lose money because you know what it feels like. You start getting comfortable with your emotions, start getting comfortable with having that feeling, especially when there's some sort of risk on the table. And over time, around 6 months later, around 2 years into my trading is when I discovered ICT concepts. So I started learning ICT concepts and it started to click a lot more with me. It was an actual reason why markets were moving.
خب میگه که بعد از اینکه تقریبا 1.5 سال من خیلی ضررهای زیادی میکردم و به قول خودش پول زیادی رو میسوزوندم و همطور که گفت نظم نداشتم، قانون نداشتم، استراتژی خاصی نداشتم اگرچه پولای خوبی هم به دست می آورد ولی حالا پولای زیادی هم از دست میداده. و تا اینکه حالا میگه با سبک ICT آشنا شدم.
Because before that, I was trading supply and demand, EMAs, RSI, stuff like that. And they're all lagging indicators. They have no sort of correlation with the market because it's taking previous data and now showing you some sort of solution to that. And it's never going to give you an honest solution. So ICT concepts really resonated with me because before, any person that I went to and I was asking them a question of, okay, how does this strategy work? Why does it work? They couldn't give me an explanation to it. With ICT concepts, the foundation of the strategy is based on why the markets actually move, which is because there's an algorithm built into the markets. So for around 6 months, I started learning ICT concepts and I wasn't trading any sort of capital. I think I took 3 months and was completely paper trading, just learning ICT concepts. And at the time I was like, I couldn't lose more money. I think I was down maybe $15,000 in my first 2 years. And I was like, I don't want to lose any more money. I'm just going to spend time to master this and then I'll worry about that later. Right when I just completely stopped caring about money. I just completely stopped worrying about making money. I completely stopped worrying about getting a payout or anything. And I was just focused on becoming the best possible trader I could be. I spent the next 6 months journaling every single day, working on my
خیلی صحبت جالبی کرد. گفت برای یه تایمی دیگه، از یه تایمی به بعد تصمیم گرفتم اصلا تمرکزی روی پول در آوردن و پول از دست دادن و اینا نداشته باشم. فقط تمرکزمو بذارم روی این که در واقع بتونم کارمو به بهترین شکل ممکن انجام بدم و حالا اون چیزهایی که دارم یاد میگیرم و خیلی خوب اجراشون کنم.
Working on my same setup that I would look for every single day, working on my sizing, and I was just focused on taking good setups, not over leveraging, not over trading, and just being the best trader I could possibly be without any sort of expectation of what the outcome would be as of capital wise. And 6 months later, the next year, which would be 2022, is the year that I made $330,000. In my opinion, the main reason of why I made money that year is because I completely was disconnected and had no sort of mental correlation or connection to money whatsoever. I was so dialed in because I spent 6 months of just completely, deconnecting myself from the money, that when the time came when I was ready to start trading again and putting on capital, it just became so much easier because I wasn't focused on any sort of money outcome. It was doing the same thing over and over again. The only really thing that you have to do to become a good trader is just repetition. But most importantly, it's repetition with purpose. It's doing the same thing over and over and over again with the actual idea in mind.
خب یه نکته خیلی خوب گفت که میگه معامله‌گری همش تکرار و تکرار و تکرار و تکرار و تکراره و هیچی جز این نیست.
Of why you're doing this. Why are you making this decision? Okay, I think that the drawn liquidity is here. Okay, why is that the case? Okay, I took a trade. Here are the things that I did right. Here are the things that I did wrong. Okay, why are the things that I did right? Right. Why are the things that I did wrong? Wrong. And it's constantly questioning these things because what's going to happen when you're actually questioning these ideas is you start to build confidence later on. The more that you see these things happen, you're like, oh, I've done this many times before. It's not anything new. And once you have that confidence and conviction in the market, you stop second guessing yourself. Right when you see it, you immediately know exactly what you're looking for. You feel comfortable putting on size because you've gotten to a point where you're able to, and you start to slowly see you increase over and over and over again. Trading is one of those things where the best traders in the world, we never stop improving. You could be trading for 10 years, 20 years, and you should always constantly be looking to improve because there's always going to be opportunity to learn. So that's kind of the basis of my journey. It took me around 3 years to actually start making money. The year that I did, it hit like that. But if there's anything I want you guys to take away from my story, it's when you're focused on the outcome, you will not see success. When you're more focused on actually
صحبتی که واقعا خیلی مهمه. ببین چقدر داره همش تاکید میکنه روی این چیزا و دوباره الان باز گفت که شما به هیچ عنوان نباید روی نتیجه کار تمرکز کنید و باید تمرکزتون رو بذارید روی در واقع اون فرایند کارتون و اجرای درست اون کاری که دارید انجام میدید و خیلی مهمه این چیزایی که الان داره میگه و به هیچ عنوان نباید روی پول در آوردن تمرکز کنید.
seeing, again, making money, getting a payout, buying a car, moving out, whatever. When you're focused on those things, you will never be successful because you're disconnecting the actual process of actually getting to that outcome. It's the same thing with anything you do in life. If you're like, oh, my goal is to get a six-pack, but you go to the gym every day, you do 10 push-ups and then leave, you might say, oh, I went to the gym every day this year, but you're not focusing on the actual process and the muscles you're working on to get to that outcome. And it's the same thing with trading. Every single day when you are trading, you need to be focused on building good habits, recognizing your strategy. You need to be journaling every single trade that you take. What did you do right? What did you do wrong? What am I learning from this experience? Because if you're just making decisions over and over again, but you're not taking the time to sit down and actually learn from those decisions, you're never going to improve and you're never going to be successful from doing so. So I owe a lot of my success to those 6 months that I just spent on the actual process. You have to take time, and really a lot of time, to just completely dial in and rewire your brain to basically think like this, because a lot of the times many of you guys are fed bad habits when you first start trading. I know I joined many communities when I first started trading that were just option signals like, oh, buy calls or buy puts or whatever. You had no clue what they were fucking taking. You had no clue what their bias was, but you would take it anyway because, you know, you want to make money, and you never end up learning anything. You think that it's normal, and you end up realizing that it'll never work, and you have to start to, you know, really funnel out those bad habits and start to really put in with newer ones. And I think that just takes a lot of time.
Who would you say you look up to right now?
In the trading space, I would say I look up to Umar for sure. Umar Ashraf was one of the people that really got me into.
بچه این عمر آصف یا حالا عمر آصف بکنم، یکی از معامله‌گران خیلی خوبیه که حالا شاید بعداً باز من یه ویدیو هم راجع به این معامله‌گر براتون بذارم، حالا یا یه روز از زندگیشو ببینیم یا حالا صحبت هایی که حالا انجام داده. خیلی معامله‌گر قویه و ظاهراً حالا یکی از الگوهای این آقای جاستین ورلین بوده که
trading, and I think the thing that separates Umar from a lot of other people in the space is just the professionability of him. He is very, very professional as a person. I respect him as an overall individual, the way he behaves, the way he acts. He just doesn't care about anything besides himself in doing his work, and that's what I honestly respect. Is he's not caught up in, you know, out going about and partying and showing all his money off and all this stuff. He cares about his small group of people, he cares about his family, he's dialed in, and I respect that for him as well. And I think he's rubbed off a lot onto me over time watching his videos, you know, when I was in my first couple early years of trading. And he was really one of the only people in the trading space at the time that was, you know, producing actual quality, good content that would give traders an actual idea of what they should be paying attention to.
If you could go back.
راجع به این در واقع عمر آصف صحبت کرد که گفت که یکی از کسایی که من توی سالهای اول خیلی ازش انگیزه گرفتم و باعث شد که حالا رو به جلو حرکت کنم این شخص بود که خیلی حالا مدیونشه و ادامه چی داره میگه؟
My 18-year-old self? Well, that was only 2 years
اگر
ago.
در عقب برگردی چه
If I could go back and tell my
انجام
18-year-old
میدی؟
self something, I guess I would say learn to enjoy every step in the journey. I think a lot of the time we can get very over just tunnel visioned on our goals and ideas, and the process that it takes to get there becomes less enjoyable because we're constantly focused on that outcome. And by the time we actually get that outcome, you now have nothing to look forward to because you just completely disregarded the entire journey along the way. And over time, I think the more that people have had success in life, I think you really start to realize that the journey is what has value. You enjoy so much of just being able to wake up, look at the markets every single day, test ideas, build conviction, fail, succeed, learn from those failures, learn from those succeeds, right? And just over time, you just become better and better and better, and you grow more as a person, and that you just start to enjoy the journey more over time.
خب اینم از این ویدیو و صحبت‌هایی که آقای جاستین برای ما انجام داد. واقعا صحبت‌های خوبی بود، نکات خیلی مهمی گفت. پیشنهاد میکنم که با دقت اگه شده حتی یک بار دیگه ببینید، یادداشت برداری کنید و واقعا این چیزایی که گفت خیلی مهم و کلیدی ان توی این مسیر معامله‌گری، میتونه به ما خیلی کمک کنه. و این صحبت‌ها از زبون کسی بود که درسته سن خیلی کمی داره، تقریبا 20-21 سالشه، ولی 4-5 سال تجربه های خیلی خوبی رو داشته و تونسته توی این 1-2 سال اخیر پولای زیادی رو از مارکت به دست بیاره و یک معامله‌گر موفق هست. توی یوتیوب هم فعال، تقریبا 20,000 سابسکرایب داره. میتونید حالا پیج خودش هم برید ببینید کانالش رو و ویدیوهای زیادی رو داره. حالا از صحبت‌هاش میتونید بیشتر استفاده کنید. امیدوارم موفق و سربلند باشید. تا ویدیوهای آینده، خدا نگهدار.